The Oilers really need some of these teams to just decide they suck again.
Yeah.
Because, quite frankly, we need better targets than Connor Murphy
Yeah.
on the board. I can't be doing with it. He's fine. He's better than probably some of the other players that are currently available on that list, but Jamie Alexiak is the guy.
I do like Alexiak. I'd be intrigued.
I'm all in.
Not a puck mover, but I'm willing to
But
overlook that because he's good enough. Yeah.
He's Brett
Depends on
Kulak.
the cost, obviously.
What would you pay?
I don't
I'd
know.
pay a conditional. If I was just getting Alexiak,
Yeah.
I understand he has another year left, so maybe this doesn't quite work. Conditional first, maybe another pick, and then throw in like a half decent prospect.
I would do a second round pick and throw in Phil Kemp. And the condition on the second would be that it becomes a first if we win the Stanley Cup.
That's a good one. The Brett Kulak deal,
Yeah, kind of.
pretty much.
Yeah, more or less.
I was thinking of what we spoke about with Frank yesterday, of just the idea of them trying to do the Henrique deal where they got like a Carrick again. I don't think that works with Chicago. I was looking.
Because Dickinson has term.
Well, and there are other pending UFAs, Pat Maroon, Craig Smith.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Donato, who's a good player, again. But I just don't think he's exactly what you need. And it probably is going to cost you more as well because they're going to want to cash in on those 16 goals, I would assume.
Yeah.
Maybe try and get a second-round pick for him alone. But maybe Seattle, you can make something work. Like
You're not getting Yanni Gord, though. Who else do they have? Like
Brandon Tanev's a pending UFA, and I would imagine they want to get a bit more for him than just throw him in a deal. He's very quick.
maybe you could then.
And he adds a bit more of a physical element, some toughness. That would become a bigger deal, and maybe the others want to do, and there would have to be a lot of money retained. But
Would you do the Granlund and Cece deal, which is basically a first and a third? Would you do that for Alexiak and Tanev?
Yeah,
I probably would too.
I would. And they would have to. What do they retain?
They don't have any
no
on the
one?
books. They
Oh,
could
yeah.
retain on both.
Oh, that would actually be nice.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't
If you
even.
could get 75% retained on Tanev, he's 3.5. So I give you 125.
175, yeah.
175.
Well, 50% retained on each is 175, and if you get them to retain on Alexiak, I'd throw in even more. But if you did, then that's basically just over $4 million between those two. It's a good deal.
Yeah, I think actually.
And you have Alexiak for one more year. You get a rental for the bottom six and Tanev.
Yeah.
And again, when you shuffle guys off your lineup, you can make the cap work very easily. Is my point.
Like we just spoke about, maybe they don't need to add another forward, but Tanev fits that bottom six role of a player of like you can kind of rotate him in and out too, and he can still be effective. Brings a ton of energy.
Yeah.
I quite like him actually.
Lyle says, where does Marchand fit? What about Brock Besser? Again, so I just kind of outlined, Pat, I'm going to keep asking you to throw up the DFO lines for me for a second, but again, let's say everyone is healthy. Kane comes in night one of the playoffs, so Kapanen's out. Who's coming out for you if you acquire a Marchand or a Besser or any top six winger, top six player in general? It gets kind of hard. And again, injury insurance is a great thing to have. I would argue they kind of have it with Kapanen and Philp. You're not upset if it's in a pinch for a game or two, whatever, if you have to play any one of Kapanen, Philp, or Derek Ryan, it's not the end of the world. It's not like you're scraping the bottom of the barrel like we saw last year. Derek Ryan can win a couple of draws, kill some penalties, and give you 7 to 8 minutes. And in the playoffs, guess what? That's what the Oilers' fourth line does.
Yeah, and you're right. They're in a good spot in the forward group. I know we spoke about it with Frank yesterday too. Could they possibly add another scoring winger? And I still don't think it would be a terrible idea. And again, it's going to be very dependent on if Arvidsson and Skinner can find their games more consistently in all of this. But Brad Marchand, I know Lyle said that he was being a bit sarcastic, but the conversation around that has grown massively. But Frank threw a lot of cold war on that. I would say the fire is out on that one, to say the least. But I think adding a bottom six forward might not be the worst idea still. But I still think it's number 2 on the priority list.
It's D-man. And I know people were saying they like Klingberg last night. I didn't love Klingberg last night.
I thought, he was fine.
He's fine. And my point here is, I do not dislike the player. I do not hate having him in the lineup. If I'm the Oilers, I'm not regretting bringing him in at this point. It's only been 3 games. We still have to give this thing a little bit more runway. By the 10-game mark, you'll have a more definitive answer. I'm not seeing enough upside there. I'm not seeing a guy who I want to trust to play top 4 minutes in the Stanley Cup playoffs and hopefully in a Stanley Cup final. I don't love that. So I'm still looking for a D-man. We've gotten distracted by a few other things. 4C, scoring winger, goalies. the need has been true the entire time. It is a number 4 right shot defenseman to partner with Darnell Nurse, and hopefully that guy has some term too. I'm totally fine with a lower level ad in the bottom 6 too, but I think you're also bringing in that guy. Like, don't spend crazy assets on him. Spend a 4th on him, because there is a better chance than none that he is getting healthy scratch game 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah, I would agree.
And again, things can change. Like, knock on wood, but 2 weeks from now, you could come back from the break, play 3 games, and someone could blow out their knee, right? Like, night 1 of the playoffs, someone could blow out their knee, and you're sitting there going, shit. You need to give yourself coverage. You need depth. That's why we applauded getting a Sam Carrick last year. You didn't actually end up needing him all that much. Same thing with Troy Stetcher. But if you didn't have him and you did need him, you're kicking yourself going, shit, maybe we should have just spent a 4th at the deadline and covered ourselves a bit better.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.